It says,
I
done?
started recording.
Good morning,
Good
all of you.
morning, ma'am.
Good morning, beta. Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Not like that.
Good morning,
I will
ma'am.
Good
be mad
morning,
if you
ma'am.
don't do that. Good
Good
morning.
morning, ma'am.
Good morning. So we are the end of the session. That is lesson number 2. We have hardly got 5 slides, but that will take almost 45 minutes because it will require lots of time to understand the cycle. Okay. It's very important, this nitrogen cycle, and this will carry forward in ninth standard, 10th, 12th, if you take up science. Okay, so understand it well, properly. So let's start with our nitrogen cycle. We'll go through one by one and we'll explain. So let's not finish together everything. We'll go line by line and then I will explain. Okay, so please start.
Yes, ma'am. Nitrogen cycle. Our atmosphere has
Don't rush.
78%.
Don't rush.
Okay.
Nitrogen
Nitrogen
cycle,
cycle.
our
Our
atmosphere
atmosphere
has
has
78% nitrogen
78%
gas.
nitrogen gas.
Do you know
Nitrogen
that?
is one
You
of
know
the
that,
essential.
Sahil?
Yes, ma'am.
All of you know this? That our atmosphere has maximum of nitrogen gas and that
Yes.
amounts to be 78%. Is it clear? So the air
Yes.
has
Ma'am,
got 78% of nitrogen gas.
I think we have done this.
No, I have to continue because I have to teach you the nitrogen cycle diagrammatically.
Okay.
So if you don't understand this, then you won't understand the cycle. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Diagrammatically. So that's why I'm redoing it. Okay, beta.
Yes.
Next.
Nitrogen is one of the essential constituents of all living organisms as part of proteins, chlorophyll,
Nucleic acids. Nucleic
nucleic
acids.
acids, and vitamins.
Yeah,
The
that's it.
atmospheric
That's it. I told you for line by line you have to wait. Did they say that? Line by line. Now, why nitrogen is important? Why nitrogen is why it's so important for living organism?
and is mostly
Because
important for plants.
yeah, generally important for plants because it is a part of protein. So nitrogen makes proteins. Also, nitrogen is present in chlorophyll. Also, nitrogen is a part of what is nucleic acid? Nucleic acid is DNA.
Yes, DNA.
What is DNA? Deoxyribonucleic acid. Remember that. So another one is RNA, ribonucleic acid. So we'll not work in detail much, but you should know that it is a part of DNA. Where do you find DNA?
In our body,
Chromosomes.
in organism.
Chromosomes. Chromosomes. Where do you find
Yes,
chromosomes? In the nucleus. Now you got where is nucleus? Nucleus is in the cell. Nucleus is in the cell. Now we'll show you what is the nucleus. So if you don't understand all this thing, then it would be very difficult for you to carry forward. Now this is nucleus. You understood now? You understand?
yes,
And in the nucleus we have chromosomes. On the chromosomes we have genes. This gene is made up of DNA. Now you understood? This gene is made up of DNA. So this
yes,
DNA is giving us the characters of our parents. If you have got single eyes like your father or your mother, or your texture of your skin or your hair, all is due to DNA. This is the nucleic acid. Is it clear?
yes.
Then vitamins. We take vitamins for what, better? Why do we take vitamins?
For healthy body.
Healthy body. So nitrogen is a part of vitamin as well. All of you understood?
Yes.
Next. Next.
The atmospheric nitrogen cannot be taken directly by plants and animals. Certain
Ready?
bacteria and
I told you,
blue-green
beta.
algae.
Okay. When I say stop, you will stop. Okay, beta?
Yes.
Continue. Continue.
Uh, uh,
Certain bacteria
certain bacteria and blue-green algae present in the soil fix nitrogen from the atmosphere and convert into compounds of nitrogen.
Stop. Now, the atmospheric nitrogen, that is 78% which is present in air, cannot be used either by plants or animals. You just cannot use. Even we can't use, animals can't use, even plants can't use. What do we do? Now, in the nature, there are certain bacteria, rhizobium, I think I taught you, rhizobium bacteria, which you observe in the nodules of the leguminous plants like pea, remember? And certain blue-green algae, which have the capacity to fix this atmospheric nitrogen from the air and convert it into usable form of nitrogen so that it can be absorbed by the roots and
Yes,
taken up by the plants. Got my point? So what are they doing?
yes,
They are making the usable form of nitrogen from the atmosphere and making it available for the plants so that they can make proteins. Understood or not? Okay? Fine. Next. Continue, beta. Once
once
nitrogen,
nitrogen is converted into these usable compounds, it can be utilized by plants from the soil through their root system.
I think I taught you already.
Yes,
Yes. Next.
nitrogen is then used for the synthesis of plant proteins
Little,
and other
there's
compounds.
disturbance. There's disturbance
No, ma'am.
in your background. There's disturbance in your background. Or someone's
Ma'am,
mic is on.
no, ma'am.
No,
There is no
no, let him
disturbance.
continue. Let him continue. Or someone's mic is on.
Yes.
Please have a
Nit-
look. Okay, next.
Nitrogen is then used for the synthesis of plants, proteins, and other compounds.
Then this nitrogen, when it's taken up by the root system, up to the shoot system, that is the plant, it goes to stem and then it goes to leaves.
Yes.
It is then used for the synthesis of plant proteins and other substances which is required by the plant. Next.
Animal feedings on animal feeding on plant get these protein and other nitrogen compounds.
Simple. Now the animals which are heterotrophs, which survive on plants for their food. What do? They eat plants. The plants have already got the nitrogen. Yes or no? So
Yes.
animals eating the plants will also get this nitrogen or protein.
Yes.
Am I right? Am I right, beta?
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes, ma'am.
plant has prepared the food, isn't it, for animals? Plant has got
Yes.
the nitrogen in the form of proteins. So plant has already made proteins. Now that protein is
Yes.
taken up by animals which is feeding on the plants. So they are getting ready-made proteins from the plants. Am I right?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes.
Continue.
When
Please,
plants
beta.
nitrogen cycle. When plants and animals die, bacteria and fungi present in the soil convert the nitrogenous waste into nitrogenous compound to be used by plants again.
Stop.
Certain
Stop it. Thank you. Now plants die. Okay. Plants die. It falls on the ground. Yes or no? It falls on the ground. This is soil. And this is
yes,
plants. It falls on the ground. When the animals die, it falls on the ground. Am I right? Am I right?
yes,
Okay.
yes,
Now the soil has got microorganisms. You agree?
yes, ma'am.
Atmosphere has got microorganisms. All these microorganisms start acting on this dead body. Right, beta?
Yes,
What happens? I think I gave you an example of cow dung. Did I give you the
Yes.
example of cow dung? 7 days you observe the cow dung. After, on the seventh day, you will not find the trace of cow dung because it has already mixed with the soil. Remember? The
Yes.
same thing is going to happen over here. They start consuming or decompose, help in decomposition of this dead body. When they start decomposing this dead body, that means they're converting complex into simple substances, or they are converting
Yes.
organic substances into inorganic substances. So our body is very complex, remember that. It's very complicated. But when we die, it becomes simple because microorganism makes it very simple. And when it becomes simple, it mixes with the soil as the form of nutrients. In the form of nutrients. Do you understand? And these nutrients, when
Yes.
mixed with the soil, that means whatever nitrogen base, because I'm dead. So the same nitrogen nutrient will change into nitrogenous waste. Do you get me what I'm saying? Because I'm dead. If I am living, there is nitrogen nutrient. But now I'm dead, so it is a nitrogenous waste. Understood or not? And it is changing into nitrogenous
Yes.
compounds, which will be taken up by the plants which grow over there. You understand?
Yes.
All of you, better?
Yes.
Yes.
Side only you are doing yes, but
Yes,
none
ma'am.
other.
Understand.
All of you understood. Okay, fine.
Certain other bacteria convert some parts of them to nitrogen gas, which goes back into the atmosphere.
Now there are other bacteria also, which is acting on the dead bodies. So
Yes.
they work on this nitrogenous waste and they convert this nitrogen waste into nitrogen gas. And when obviously where this nitrogen gas will go, it will go to the atmosphere. You agree?
Yes.
So what? See, it is a cycle, Peter. Certain bacteria or blue alga took this atmospheric nitrogen and used it for themselves to make proteins, right? After its death, after the body died, it got decomposed by certain bacteria, and the same nitrogenous waste is converted into gas and goes back to atmosphere. What do you say? The same thing. The cycle repeats. You
Yes.
agree? The cycle is repeated. So what happens?
Repeating.
What happens as a result? Read better.
As a result, the percentage of nitrogen in the atmosphere remains more or less constant.
Got it now? So the cycle is completed. The bacteria took the atmospheric nitrogen, fix it, make it in the usable form, and the plants absorb it, right, beta? To make proteins. What do you say?
Yes.
And the plants die.
Yes,
Now
ma'am.
the plants die. Some other bacteria, they work on it, decompose it, change the nitrogen waste into gas and release it into atmosphere. Got it?
Yes.
This is what is very, very important. There's a reason why I redid this slide. Now you understood why I did that, Beta? This cycle is important. I want you to draw in the, I will make you draw because in the LQ I have given you the nitrogen cycle. So right now you don't have to, but when I give you the answers, the LQs, that time you have to draw the diagram. Okay, Beta? First is, to begin with, what I will take, this is how you have to start. What I will take, Beta? Hello? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
What will take?
Atmospheric nitrogen.
Understood now? Nowhere else nitrogen is present. It is only present in the atmosphere. So what are we going to write down? Atmospheric nitrogen. That's the first thing that we have to take. Next. Now it is not available to plants and animals. So who is working on this aspect? Bacteria. Who is working, beta? Bacteria is working, which is present in the soil. What they do, beta? What they do?
Yes.
They are turning compounds of nitrogen into, this is something wrong. We'll go over here. This is after dying. We go over here. First, what we'll take
Yes.
is not available to plants and animals. So, look at the lightning, thunderstorm. Hello? You see the lights coming down from the sky? Yesterday also it was happening. Can you hear me, beta?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So that lightning fixes nitrogen. Remember, whenever there is lightning, it fixes nitrogen. So what is present on the soil? We have nitrogen fixing bacteria. What is present in the soil? We have rhizobium bacteria and Brueggen algae, which have the ability to fix this atmospheric nitrogen. This much is clear? Is this much clear, beta?
Yes.
So what we have in the soil? We have bacteria, namely rhizobium bacteria, which are present in the nodules of the leguminous plants that I have shown you already, and Brueggen algae, which have the capacity to fix this atmospheric nitrogen. What happens? Now the lightning is fixing nitrogen, and there are bacteria and Brueggen algae which is fixing nitrogen. It goes to, where does it go to, beta? Soil. Where does it go to? Soil.
Soil.
And yes, and what are they making? They are making compounds of nitrogen. What are they making, beta?
Compounds of nitrogen.
So who is making that, beta? The bacterium
Soil.
and the Brueggen algae. Who is making? The bacterium
Soil.
and the Brueggen algae, which are present in the
Bulugin algae.
soil, they are making nitrogen compounds. Is this clear? This much?
Yes.
So we are through this portion. This one, 3, and 4. Then only I will carry forward. Is this clear? All of you? Boys, 8th standard.
Yes.
Is this
Yes.
left hand side of the sentence clear? Okay. Now, when in the soil this compounds of nitrogen is prepared, this has been taken up by plants as nucleus. Am I right?
Yes.
Yes. So the plants take it up. Now these plants are eaten by whom, beta?
Animal eat plants.
Animals. Okay? Understood? So animals got protein. So
Yes.
plant made protein. This protein is eaten by animals. So animals got protein. Now animals urinate. Animals passes urine. That urine is also called as nitrogenous waste. Agree? Urine has nitrogenous waste. Do you agree? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes? Okay. And,
Yes, ma'am.
and the animals die. See, there are two things. One is nitrogenous waste as a form of urine, and the animal die or the plant die. Right, beta? What will happen? It will mix with the soil. What will happen? After death, it mixes with the soil. Agree?
Yes.
Is this clear, all of you?
Clear.
Now, there are certain bacteria in the soil. What are they doing? They are
Bacteria turn
turning,
compounds of
yes, This much, then it goes back to the air. Where does it go back? It becomes atmosphere.
environment.
Is this clear, all of you? Now, can any of you explain
Yes,
a little
clear.
bit about nitrogen cycle? Can you explain better a little bit of nitrogen cycle?
Yes.
Can you? Okay, do it in your own words.
Atmospheric nitrogen is bacteria. The bacteria turn atmospheric nitrogen into compounds, and the compound of nitrogen are taken by plants. The plants are eaten by animals. When the animal die, the
Why are you mixing
nitrogenous
everything?
waste.
Beta, you're mixing up everything. What I wish is first you take up this portion, this left portion. This is how you will take up. Don't
Yes,
touch this. Don't touch this. Then only you will go systematic. That's what I taught you.
and
You're
first
mixing everything.
atmospheric nitrogen is fixed by green blue algae, and the
Bacteria.
compounds of nitrogen are uptaken by plants. Animals eat the plants' nitrogenous waste from excretion and death. Bacteria turn them into compounds of nitrogen into gaseous
Okay. And that goes back to atmosphere. Right? Well
atmosphere of
done.
nitrogen.
Well done. Anyone else wishes to try? Does anyone else wishes to try, Beta? Hello? No one. This we have already done in sixth and seventh classes. Start.
Nitrogen fixation. You have learned about the bacterium Rhizobium in classes 7, 6 and 7. It is involved in the fixation of nitrogen and leguminous plants or
Leguminous.
pulses.
Leguminous
Leguminous
plants.
pulses or plants. Recall that rhizobium lives in the root nodules of leguminous plants, such as beans and peas, with which it has a symbiotic relationship. Sometimes nitrogen gets fixed through the action of lighting, but you know that the amount of nitrogen in the atmosphere remains constant. You may wonder how. Let us understand this in the next session.
Okay. What have we learned from here? Can any of
We
you?
learned that rhizobium is in leguminous plants like
No,
pulses, all
no,
pulses.
no, beta. Rhizobium bacterium lives in the root
Yes, it is
nodules
in the
of
roots of
pulses. So what are the
yes,
pulses? They are leguminous plants. What are the pulses, beta? They are leguminous plants. For example, beans and peas. So what sort of relationship they are having with the plants? Symbiotic. What is the symbiotic relationship tells you? Can you define the symbiosis? What is the meaning of symbiotic relationship, beta?
नहीं पता.
You don't know.
No,
You have
ma'am.
been taught in seventh
No,
standard.
ma'am.
But you have been taught in seventh standard. That is what I'm telling you. Symbiotic relationship is a relation between two organisms, right? If I give you
Yes,
example of, have you heard of this?
yes.
What is this
Lichens.
relationship? Yes, didn't I teach you in seventh standard?
Yes,
What is the relationship? Symbiosis. Hello? Hello.
When we put acids on lichen,
No, no,
it
no,
turns
no.
red.
Why should we put? From lichens we make litmus paper. You know that? From lichens
Yes,
we make litmus paper. That we will learn later. In the later part of a session, we will learn about that. But what I'm trying to tell you right now, lichen is a combination of two organisms. What are they? One is fungus and the other one is algae.
algae and
Yes. Now you understood what I taught you? Now, what algae is doing,
yes,
beta? It is making food. It is photosynthesizing and making food. For whom? For the fungus. And
the
in
fungus.
return, what fungus is giving? Fungus is giving shelter. What it is giving, beta?
Shelter to algae.
Shelter and space to algae to survive. Is this clear?
Yes,
This is called a symbiotic relationship. When both of them are helping each other, they are called a symbiotic. Now, in this case, tell me who is helping whom and how. Please tell me. Which are the two organisms where you are finding symbiotic relationship?
fungus
Please tell
and
me.
algae.
Here is fungus algae. Now we are not talking about lichen. We are not talking about inverter. We are
So
talking about what? What are we talking about right now? We are talking about rhizobium bacteria,
yeah,
which
uh,
is observed in the
uh,
root nodules of leguminous
yeah,
plants. Right, Pika? Is it right? So how it is helping? These rhizobium bacteria is fixing the atmospheric nitrogen for the plant. And what plant is giving back? It is giving a space and shelter to the rhizobium bacteria. That's it. Both of them are helped by each other. Simple. One is fixing the nitrogen, the atmospheric nitrogen, and the other is giving the space to survive. That's it. Understood? Hello? You understand?
yes,
Yes.
understood.
Yes, please read. And then explain. Sahil, if you're reading line by line, and then try to explain to the whole class.
The
Okay?
nitrogen in the atmosphere, yes. The nitrogen in the atmosphere is converted into nitrogen compounds in the soil by nitrogen fixing bacteria and blue-green algae.
Explain.
It means nitrogen in atmosphere is converted into
Beta,
compounds
you are reading
by
it. Are you reading it?
नहीं मैम मैं रीड नहीं कर रहा.
Okay.
It
Then,
means atmospheric nitrogen is converted in compounds by bacteria and blue-green algae
okay. Where are they present?
in soil.
Very good.
They are present in
Next.
soil.
Okay, next.
Lightning also converted into nitrogen compounds in the soil.
So, which is the second factor which is converting atmospheric nitrogen?
Lightning.
Okay.
Hmm.
Next. So, all of you understood? One factor is rhizobium bacteria and the blue lagoon algae, which converts the atmospheric nitrogen or they fix the atmosphere. Second is in the presence of lightning, the nitrogen is fixed. Is it clear?
Yes.
All of you understood? Okay. Next.
Yes.
Next, beta.
The nitrogen compound in the soil is used by plants for synthesis of proteins and other compounds.
Okay. Now it is fixed in by the rhizobium bacteria in the soil. What is the next step? What the plant
Next
is
step
doing?
is the plants absorb the all nitrogen compounds and use
No,
for synthesis.
no, no. This atmospheric nitrogen is taken up by the roots. It is absorbed by the roots of the plants. Right, beta? Is it clear? And they are used by the plants for the making of proteins and other compounds, like fats, other things will be also added up. Is it clear? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Next. Where did Sahil go? Is Sahil there? Beta, is he there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, tell him to read.
Yes, I read.
Okay.
Nitrogen cycle. The nitrogen in the atmosphere
No,
is
no, no.
converted in.
He has already completed it. You start from the nitrogen compounds in the soil is used by plants.
From where?
Third line, fourth line, I think so.
The nitrogen compounds in the soil is used by plants for the synthesis of proteins and other compounds. Animals feeding on plants get these
Just a moment. Line by line, you have to explain. Beta. How Sahil was explaining, same way you have to explain. So now the root here of the leguminous plant has taken up the nitrogen, the atmospheric nitrogen, and is absorbed by the plants, right, beta? And is converted into proteins and other compounds. Plasmus is over. So now the protein is formed in the plant, right, beta? The atmospheric nitrogen is used for the making of protein in the and other compounds in the plants. Now what is next? Read animals.
animals feeding on plants get these proteins and other compounds.
Understood? So now animals will eat that plant. So it will get the ready-made
Yes.
protein from that plant. Isn't it better? It's getting all things
Yes, ma'am.
ready-made. Ready-made
Yes.
protein, ready-made other substances, and it is taking or using up those ready-made stuff. Next,
When plants and animals die, bacteria and fungi in the soil converts the nitrogenous waste into nitrogen compounds in the soil, which are again used by plants.
now plants has to die, animals will also die, right, beta? Hello?
Yes.
Yes. So when they die, so obviously, what are the organisms which are acting on these plants and animals, dead plants and animals? Which are the organisms which will work on the dead plants or animals? Fast. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you hear me? What I said?
Yes.
So give me the answer. What is going to
Yes,
work on
ma'am.
dead plants and animals?
And
Give me the
what?
answer. I'm asking a question, Rita. Which are
What?
the organisms that will work on dead plants and animals?
Ma'am,
Exactly.
rhizobium,
Microorganism.
bacteria,
No,
and
no,
yellow.
no, no, no. From where this rhizobium will come? Rhizobium works with the living organism, beta. Why are you using it for the dead
2 minutes.
organism? I just said I want the microorganisms which are acting on the dead organism. That means they are the decomposers. Bacteria, rhizobium bacteria is not decomposer. Rhizobium bacteria is a good bacteria. It is helping in fixing the nitrogen and making it to protein. You understand? I am talking about the decomposers, the bacteria and the fungus which are decomposing, which are degrading the dead body. Hope you understand. Don't mix both the things. Is it clear? So after the death of the
Yes.
animal and plants, there are certain bacteria and fungi in the atmosphere or in the soil. They are converting the nitrogenous waste. The one nitrogenous waste is urine of the animals that has been converted into nitrogen compounds in the soil. So it becomes, they simplify it, they break down the complex substance with simpler substances which mixes with the soil, and then it becomes available for the next plant to grow over there. You understand? Do you understand?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, beta. Next. Then what
Some
happens?
other bacteria convert some nitrogen compounds in the soil into nitrogen gas, which goes back into the atmosphere. Hence, the nitrogen in the atmosphere almost remains constant.
Okay. Now there are other bacteria in the soil which has the capacity of converting these nitrogen compounds in the soil. And what are they doing? They are converting to see this. What are these nitrogen to dead body? What I'm talking about, dead body, and they convert it into nitrogen gas. So the nitrogen compounds is converted into nitrogen gas by certain bacteria, and it mixes with the atmosphere. So what it is doing? The nitrogen in the atmosphere, it becomes quite constant. Whatever they take from atmosphere, they give it back. Is it clear to all of you? Now, this is what I want to show you. These are pea plant. Can you see this? This is a pea plant, right? And the root of the pea plant, you have this. These are the nodules. What are they, Vita? These are the nodules. Got it?
Yes.
All these are nodules. Now, what is the bacterium which is present over here? Can anyone tell me? Which is the bacterium that lives here in the nodules? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Which is the bacterium that lives in the nodules of the leguminous plants? Give me the name of that bacterium.
Rhizobium.
Exactly, it is rhizobium bacterium. Rhizobium bacterium, which lives over here. Got it? And what relationship it is showing, beta? Can you help me out?
Bacteria.
Yes. What is the relation that is it is showing with the plant? Which sort of relationship is it? Hello. Which type of relationship is it showing? What this relationship is called as? I taught you everything, and how come you're blank right now, beta? What is the relationship of this bacteria with the plant? Can anyone?
What?
Can you tell me the one who helped me out by giving the name of rhizobium? Can you tell me, beta? What is the relationship name called as?
Known
No idea?
no, ma'am.
That means you're not paying attention.
Okay, ma'am.
What is written?
Yes, ma'am.
Symbiotic. What is it? Just now we learned symbiotic relationship,
Yes,
where both the
Guru.
organisms are helping each other. Rhizobium
Ma'am,
is helping the plant, and the plant is helping the bacteria. Is it clear? Boys, is it clear?
yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Yes. Now, how come you forgot, beta? And you can see these ones. What are these, beta? These ones. What are these?
Vein.
Yes, they are root hairs. What are they, beta? Root hairs. Is it clear? Is it clear? See, all these
Yes,
are root hairs.
ma'am.
Can you see this? These ones, the faint one, very fine one, all these are root hairs. The thick ones are roots. Hope the things are very clear. We come to the close of this chapter.
Yes, ma'am.
And
Yes.
okay, we have finished with the chapter, and by today itself, I will be sending you after I finish in eighth girls this chapter. Then only you can have this PDF of lesson number 2. What about the PDF lesson number 1, beta? Have you shown it to your follow-up teacher?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have not done, I will not send you PDF of second chapter. Remember that.
Okay,
Yes.
ma'am.
Please have a check whether you have sent it or not. If you have not, then do it right away so that you can have the PDF of lesson number 2. Have a good day, beta. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye,
Bye,
ma'am.
bye,
Have a
ma'am.
good day. Bye, bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, bye.
Bye, ma'am. We have a good
Bye.
day.
Bye,
Bye.
ma'am.
Bye. Beta.
Hello, Sahil. Hello. Hello.